Welcome back to my channel. A lot of my jumping off points for my topics are from reels I see on Facebook. They are usually short, and I'm not likely to react to just one short clip because while I prefer making short videos, that would be too short. But using multiple clips is tougher than you may think. I want them to fit together so everything flows well. But it's actually difficult to get clips that merge together perfectly, at least for me. So don't be surprised if I combine things that seem a little awkward at times, or if sometimes I just throw a bunch of clips together on a broad subject but which don't closely relate to each other. Let me start with this first clip from a young woman who seems rather fixated on how much a guy spends on the first date.
A man can't spend $75 or $100 on a first date. He just shouldn't be dating. If a man wants to take you on a walk or go for coffee on the first date, say no thanks and move on.
Well, speaking for myself, I cross her off any list of women I would have been interested in dating. It sure sounds like, for her, it is all about money. But let's look at how she tries to excuse it.
And what do women commonly do to get ready for a first date, especially? New outfit, nails done, hair done, maybe buy some new makeup or perfume or jewelry. Jesse, it's not about the money. On the first few dates it is. On every date moving forward it is.
To me, this just makes it worse. Why on earth would there be a need to buy a new outfit for a first date? I'm pretty sure the guy won't care, and probably has no idea what her wardrobe consists of. Thus, he wouldn't know if it is new or not. It makes me wonder how well she handles money if she's doing that for each first date. But she adds buying new makeup, perfume, and jewelry. I'm no expert on makeup and perfume, but I'm pretty sure any of those purchases last a long time. And jewelry? Why? The guy is not going to care. Usually the only way he'd know anything was new would be if the girl makes it a point to say so. To me, all that would be a red flag. The impression I get is that she is using a first date as an excuse to buy stuff she wants anyway, perhaps to show off to her girlfriends. And just when you think that just maybe she is only weird about early dates, saying the money is important on the first few dates, then she says for all the dates moving forward. Blogger Emily King gave her response, which makes sense to me.
Why does he have to go all out on the first date when the purpose of the first date is to see if you even like each other?
Exactly. If a woman doesn't understand that, I'd run away. Moving on from this dating scenario, how about how wives often act on getting their husbands to help with household chores? Jedediah Bila talks about it, and I've seen this said by many women.
Women, we can be control freaks, right? We can also have this idea of we want things done our way, whether it's the way the dishwasher is loaded, the way the towels are folded. I can go on, and we all have this in us. Ladies, if you're honest with yourself, you will say, yes, I'm extremely picky. I demand perfection because I have an inflated sense of ego at times, and I think I'm doing everything the right way. It becomes my way or the highway, and you emasculate the guy by saying you're doing it wrong. He goes to, do whatever. Laundry comes out, he folds a couple of towels, and you're like, oh, you roll them in a ball. Don't do that. Forget it. Just let me do it, right? Be honest. Guys have lived this reality over and over and over again. And what it creates is a guy who's emasculated, but also a guy who says, well, screw you. I'm not doing anything.
This fits under my number one issue, that a woman shouldn't undermine a man's status. Nitpicking things like this does cause problems, especially when the man is being agreeable to help out. Personally, unless there is some special need to do something a certain way, I suggest just letting your husband do it his way. Using the example she gave of a guy rolling up towels, so what? You may prefer them folded, but what difference does it make other than personal preference? A shelf of nicely rolled up towels looks just as nice as a shelf of folded towels. Heck, I can see practical advantages to having them rolled up. I follow this advice when I have people working under me. I lay out what their tasks and goals are and any special rules or requirements. But other than those broad outlines, I let them get it done however works best for them. It gives them more pride in their work. Sure, some chores may require fairly rigid instructions, like washing clothes. You have to use the proper temperatures, separate clothes so you don't mess up colors, etc. But how to fold towels? That isn't very important. But if you just must have them done a certain way, be careful how you present it to your husband. or do it yourself without making negative comments. I've seen a lot of people, including couples on YouTube, who argue on camera about silly things, and the wife will make comments about how they don't hide anything from their viewers as if that is some great thing. But it isn't. Your family disagreements, put out for all to see, is likely to create friction in the marriage because it will usually lead to taking away status for no benefit. Here's another point about how husbands and wives act differently.
The question, am I your wife or your maid? I want you to take a step back and think, has he ever asked me, am I your husband or your mechanic? Am I your husband or your meal ticket? Am I your husband or your delivery boy? Am I your husband or your landscaper? Am I your husband or your electrician? Probably not. Roles exist in a marriage for a reason, and part of a marriage is serving in love and not nagging.
The important point is that these loaded questions are typically only coming from one side. Much like how I've pointed out that no one even questions the obligation of a husband to provide for and protect his wife. But don't dare say the wife has certain obligations. I don't like double standards. One more clip, this one about the natural inclinations of older male children, and thus about the importance of fathers, from Charlie Kirk.
In the state of nature, young men don't like taking orders from women. It is very hard to discipline a 17-year-old boy if you just have a mom in the house. That's why dads need to come in to restore order and structure and discipline, because moms struggle with that.
I can hear it now. Women talking about how many single mothers raise great kids, including boys. But that doesn't change some uncomfortable facts, such as the comparative rate of young men raised by single mothers getting in serious trouble compared to those raised by both parents. You can't point to some good results and use those to ignore the considerable difference in results overall. It would be like saying some people who regularly drive well over the speed limit have never had an accident and use that to say speeding is just fine. Just things to think about. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.